by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky. I go to war, I'll fight. Damn right. Even when I've left, I do right by you.
All right, welcome back to the Professional Stepdad Show. I'm your host, Franco Zavala. Thank you very much for joining me. This is episode 115 of the show. Like always, before I go any further, if you have not, please like, subscribe, share the show, hit that notification button, leave a comment, share with your friends and family, especially here on YouTube. It helps with the algorithm. You can always find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, the website, www.theprofessionalstepdad.com. Head over there, fill out the form that we have there on our contact. Leave your information so you can go ahead and join our community of stepdads. Got a lot of fun and exciting things coming up in the next 24 months when it comes to classes and workshops and just Q&As, meet and greets, and just really doing everything we can to build that community of stepdads. So if you want to be a part of it, you want to stay connected with us, like I said, just head over there, put your information in. We'll send you an email welcoming you to the family. So yeah. All right, today's episode is going to be a fun one because a fun one for me because this is something that I had to do. I had to specifically do because mainly because of the man I was before I came into my family. So, from coaches to teachers to my own father, I've always been told that I have to raise my standards, and I have to stop living my life in a way that won't be beneficial for me. And I really couldn't understand what that meant. I really didn't understand what that meant. I mean, I wanted to just live my life. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to have as much fun as I possibly could with friends and family. But ultimately, when it came down to it, in order for me to step into my blended family, I had to raise my own standards. Because how can I, as a stepfather, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a husband, as somebody that has a show, somebody that speaks in front of people, how can I possibly ask you to do the things necessary in order for you to build this foundation and build this structure and this team with your blended family if I wasn't willing to raise my own standards as an individual? And like I said, my standards, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, my standards were low. I cared more about partying and friends. I cared more about what other people thought about me. I tried my best to please others. As much as I rebelled against everything that I possibly did in my life, I still did everything I could to please others, including strangers, friends, family, my own parents, and of course, every relationship I was ever in. And because I never raised my standards, I was always cheating. I was always stepping outside my relationships because I wasn't happy. And it wasn't because I wasn't happy with them. It was because I wasn't happy with myself. My standards were so low. I had such a low standard for myself that I didn't feel that I could properly love and communicate and be there for anyone really when I really couldn't be there for myself. So fast forward in my life when I turn, I'm turning 32 years old, and I am put into this scenario where I come into this blended family, and I'm scared, guys. I'm scared because the last thing I want to do is I want to hurt anyone. I knew not only did I have a relationship with my wife at the time that I needed to build and grow on, but I was still trying to figure out who I was, let alone now I'm responsible for like advice and listening and mentoring kids. And I had to do all that with the standards that I had at that current time in my life. And my standards at that time, guys, were shit. Now, mind you, I had been through some fun stuff at that time, meaning I had been through some things that helped me start to mold who I was as a man and as a person, because I was, working with Bob Proctor or the military also helped me with my structure and discipline. But I never really had a reason to maintain those standards. So what do I mean by this? It means like I worked with Bob and through the military and the things that I did, my standards were being raised. I was increasing how I saw I was increasing the way I saw myself. I was getting to a point where I didn't feel like I needed to please everyone around me. But at the same point, you know, and let me, I didn't feel like I had to please everyone around me. So I'm going to stop there. Like I got to like, let's just say 60% of my potential. But I didn't have any real accountability for my standards. And I didn't have any personal accountability at all. So I didn't have a reason to maintain this standard. I didn't have a reason to take my personal standards in my life and continue to build and grow on them. Then I entered my blended family. And I learned very, very, very quickly that I was responsible for the standards that I was going to introduce in the home that I would be living at with the kids, with my wife. And it's hard, right? Because you want to be the best, you want to do the best, you want to put your best foot forward, you want to be there for everyone, you want to try to be the voice of reason, you want to be the good guy, and you try not to be the bad guy, and all these other things that every stepdad goes through because, you know, we are trying to gain our worth and our value within our home. But my standards for myself were still just shit. And when I say shit, I don't mean like zero. I mean, just they were shit. They weren't up to the standards that my girls and that my son and that my wife were going to need from me. So I knew that I needed to take a step back and reevaluate my life. Meaning I needed to reevaluate who I was, who I wanted to be, where I currently was, and what it was going to take to get to where I needed to go. And the answer to all of those questions were, Franco, you need to raise your standards. You need to raise the standards in the way you treat yourself. You need to raise the standards in the way you treat your business, the way you treat your spiritual life, your marriage, the way you're going to be a father, how you're communicating. You have to raise the standards on the people that you allow into your life and the people that you know you need to let go. And it wasn't until I made that contract, I created a contract for myself. And the contract was real simple. I was going to need to get to a point in my life where I was going to raise my standards, and then I was going to maintain those standards because I now had a reason to do it. And the reason and don't get me wrong, the reason wasn't just the kids. The reason wasn't just my wife. The reason wasn't just the blended family. The reasons were I wanted to be the very best man that I could be. I wanted to set the very best example that I could set. I wanted to show that with change and with raising your standards, you can accomplish so many different things in this world. But you have to have a high standard for yourself. You have to set these standards, and then you have to teach these standards. And these standards have to be carved into stone. And then this is the way you must live your life. So, you know, stepdads, I come to you today, first of all, humbled that you're even listening to the show. I come to you today grateful that you're listening to the show, because here's what not a lot of people are going to tell you, stepdads. What I'm about to say to you. I want you to take, and I want you to bottle it up and put it on a shelf and open it when you feel at your lowest point. Okay? Stepdads, you are fucking amazing. You are incredible. You are needed, wanted, valued. Everything that you envision for your family and how you wish and you hope that it can be, it is possible. But you can only reach this level when you raise your standards for yourself, when you let go of your past, when you stop feeding into any negativity around you, when you stop blaming others for mistakes and things that aren't working out, when you could take personal responsibility and accountability and raise your standards, stepdad, to match your vision of how you want your family to be, I will make this promise to you. You will get there. Patience, consistency, all these things are needed, okay? But when you raise your standard and when you set this bar for yourself, you now have something to measure up against. You now have something to strive for, to reach for, to chase. You need to raise your standards. Raise the standards for yourself, raise the standards for your kids. Because remember, as the kids go through the many different levels of life, and as they get from preteens to teenagers to young adults to when they leave the house, and even when they're younger, there are certain standards that you must place on these children. You must place on the kids. And when I mean by place, I mean this. I mean, place them on yourself and allow the kids to see it. And when they ask, you let them know. This is the standard I have for myself. I'm gonna read 10 books a year. I'm gonna write down my goals. I'm gonna learn to communicate with my partner. I'm gonna let go of my past. I'm gonna become a better me, because I know that in order for me to be the very best that I can be for you guys, I need to be the very best that I can be for me first. And stepdads, you need to understand that no matter how hard you try, how hard you work, how hard you press, how hard you push, if you don't raise the standards for yourself first and then maintain them and hold yourself accountable for those standards, none of this is gonna matter. None of it. So ask yourself, are you doing everything necessary? And I don't mean, are you going to the classes and are you going to the seminars and the workshops and all that other stuff? Are you doing the minimal stuff in order to get your feet wet? That'll consistently push you forward? What I mean by that is daily goals, reading books about, positive growth and mental stability. Are you listening to the kids? Are you taking notes? Are you setting aside days for specific kids that need your extra attention? And when I say extra attention, I mean just maybe a voice to listen to, or an ear. Is it an ear to listen to? An ear for them to listen to, that's what I mean. So stepdads, you can get to that place of power and love and acceptance when you raise your standards. Because when you raise your standards, your family standards will raise. The children will strive to be better. Your relationship with your partner, you both will strive to be better, because you are striving to be better for you first. Take care of yourself first, stepdad. Work on you first, stepdad. Go back to episode 1 all the way to episode 115. You will hear me repeat that. Work on your fucking self first. Stop trying to solve the problems of the world. Stop trying to freaking defend everyone around you. Stop listening to the fucking naysayers and the negativity. Stop allowing shit into your four walls of your house. If you have a negative bio parent in your world, in your life, if you have a negative bio parent that is doing everything they can to derail your progress, if they derail it, it's because you let it fucking happen. Frankly, you don't understand, man. I mean, this guy or this girl, they're really powerful, and they do everything they can to undermine everything I say. So fucking what? None of that matters. The only thing that will ever matter is the standards you have for yourself, how you run the home with love and communication and accountability. If you don't let that negativity within the four walls of your house, no matter what happens, the children will know that it's a comfortable place for them to listen, to talk, to be heard. And it's because you set those standards, you carve them in stone, and you let everyone around you know that you will not push me, you will not sway me, nothing will matter, because these are my standards, and and I hold myself accountable to these standards, and I'm not fucking moving. So, you got this. So raise your standards. Trust me. It worked for me. It'll work for you. All right, guys, that is episode 115 of the show. Once again, if you have not, please like, subscribe, share the show, hit that notification button, leave a comment, share with your friends and family, help us with the algorithm on YouTube. I, like always, am so happy, blessed, and grateful to be here. I'm so happy, blessed, and grateful that you are even listening to the show or watching the show. I know how lonely of a world it is for a step-parent, whether you're a stepmom or a stepdad. I know how lonely it feels. I know how hard it is. I know how at points that it seems impossible. and that everyone's against you and that nobody wants you there. But just remember why you were there in the first place. What is your why? What brought you there? What's keeping you there? I want you to set a new standard for yourself. I want you to start doing the little tiny fucking things a day that are going to get you to the next level. And then fucking continue to move forward with your progress. And you will win. All right, guys. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Be well.
Damn right. Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything. Your blue sky.
Quiet on the set, please. Thank you, everybody.